Once upon a time, there lived a girl named Sharon. Sharon was born and raised in Elizabeth, South Australia, a low socio-economic area in Adelaide. Sharon was born into a poorly educated family whose mum and dad would constantly argue and raise their voices around the house. Sharon's parents did not know the effects of drinking in front of children and how important it is to be a good role model. Smoking can cause harm to anyone around you, especially young babies. Sharon's parents were not aware of this. The house where Sharon first grew up in was run down and not looked after. The neighbourhood was much the same. Her future houses she lived in were of equal standard. Sharon would sit in her room trying to hide from the noise and anger her parents showed each other daily. There weren't many places to escape to. The local area was run down and there was not a lot to play with at all. Sharon was a typical child with the needs of any other. However, she grew up feeling alone and unwanted. She craved to meet some friendly and loving people. But she wasn't as fortunate as some, not even those in her neighbourhood. When it came time for school, she attended the school in her zone, Elizabeth Primary School. She was so excited. But the children were very mean. Bullying was an everyday occurrence. And some just didn't want to be there. On her first day, Sharon was ready to learn and excited to be able to read books and use computers, things that she didn't have at home. But there weren't many resources. There weren't even many students most of the time. All her classmates shared her trouble reading and writing, and she hoped they would all learn at this school. Sharon loved making up stories, but the teachers really didn't try very hard. They didn't even think the students could do it. The teachers just got cross. They did not know how to handle the class, and it was even louder at school than it was at home. The teachers came, and then they went just as quickly as they arrived. The students had no classroom stability. They couldn't control the students, and Sharon felt alone. She couldn't learn like this. As years passed, Sharon got less and less interested. No teachers were there long enough to trust. No excursion camps, visitors were available because they were too expensive. School got a new building though. Sharon felt alone, dumb, and sad. When it was time for high school, Sharon didn't feel ready. People were even nastier on so many different levels. There was still no equipment, and now there were new teachers for each lesson. No one had time for Sharon. She didn't even feel noticed or valued by teachers. Like at home, she was not important. What's the point? She thought. I've had it. And she left with her friends. History was repeating. Fighting habits continued throughout Sharon's life. But it doesn't have to be like this. Every student can achieve, and the Australian education system needs to step up and make equity and equality in education a national right. Unfortunately, the life and educational experiences of Sharon are not uncommon. The stress of unemployment and the threat of homelessness has no doubt contributed to the anger and violence within the household that Sharon has grown up in. Sharon's parents have had to deal with the difficulties involved with meeting essential costs: rent, food and electricity. This causes a huge strain on family relationships and creates a sense of social isolation. Lawrence, 2002. Is it any wonder that Sharon took solace in starting school? When Sharon started school, her low socioeconomic status followed closely behind. Sharon is not comfortable socialising with children in her classroom and struggles with confidence on the play equipment. Sharon is left out of games and is frequently bullied. Sharon has no literacy stimulation at home and struggles to read even the simplest primary school books. Sharon is an example of social injustice. As Elizabeth Primary School is located in a low socioeconomic area, funding is minimal, resources are scarce, and effective teachers are non-existent. The school is poorly maintained, and the majority of teachers are first-year graduates who lack experience. When Sharon reaches high school, her problems only escalate further. As the negative behaviours around her continue and her educational competence stalls, Sharon becomes less engaged in learning. Truancy becomes a greater problem. Equality and equity fade into the distance. Gradually, Sharon starts to stumble down a well-worn path, one that her mother before her also travelled. Sharon started heavy smoking, drinking, eventually becoming involved in drugs. After a brief fling, Sharon was alone, pregnant, and angry. However, all is not lost. The Australian education system can promote equality, equity, and social justice for all children, including those with educational backgrounds similar to Sharon's. To make the Australian education system fair, educators need to be able to deal with linguistic difficulties and try to overcome the limitations that these difficulties impose. Treat each student as an equal and value each student's difference as part of who they are. Understand that there are students from different social classes, but not let this affect the education they receive. Give each and every student the same opportunities and encouragement to succeed. To do this, teachers need to match the learning styles of each student so that students from diverse racial, cultural, social academic status and gender can do the best they can academically. Woolfolk, 2010. Although life may seem a struggle at times, it can improve. If you put in the effort and really want it, you can achieve anything. You can be anything you want to be. So, set your goals high and then push forward to achieve them. You can do it.